out west, slang it out west. Go metallic night, I can shake it out.
Roll again. Roll camera.
You're good.
Alright, what's going on, guys? Want to do a follow-up video after Stradman released the video talking about his car. We recorded a video the day of it being on the dyno, but we wanted to give Strad the opportunity to release it and talk about it first. He kind of said a lot of it, but we're gonna get a little more technical with it and give you guys a little bit more information. This video is gonna be a little cut up because we're gonna probably go back and forth with the last video, but whatever. Yeah, so otherwise, car's still good. Just to make it clear, motor did not blow up. What we did is we pulled the trigger on pushing forward so that it didn't blow up because we started seeing some signs of rod knock, which we weren't seeing on the street. I think the car maybe was probably just a little bit under, being under load prevented us from actually seeing where the knock was coming from. But then once we got on the dyno and we were able to get dyno numbers, we were able to figure out that the bearings are wearing out. And we're not going to push his motor to blowing up, regardless of how much we want to get this car done and how much you guys want to see it. Nobody wants to see Strad with the blown up Gallardo, so we prevented that from happening. And thanks to the dyno, we were able to see that. Whereas before, if we would have given it to him with just a street tune on it, we wouldn't have really been able to see that and know where it was coming from. So thankfully we caught it, and we're gonna be doing a motor build with you guys. All right, fire it up and then we'll do it.
Yeah, let me crack the door.
Good?
Yeah, you're good to go.
So they can see the car's cold.
Yeah.
No one thinks we're lying. There's too many people out there that like to start rumors and like to be negative when we're just trying to do what we love and be positive. So I'm just gonna let this just record the log. So after it warms up, I'll pull the log out of it and then we'll kind of go from there. But
all right,
probably gonna this is probably part of the video where you're gonna speed it up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna speed this part up.
I'll grab it a few times.
Okay.
Pull the locks. Show you guys what we're seeing.
Got some flames in there.
Yeah?
Yeah, got me all excited.
Oh, there you go. See? They get what they want. Flames are always cool, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the other day when I saw him for the first time, I kind of like screamed. Got all jacked up.
See how we're seeing knock? This is just free revving.
All right, so what? Yeah, point at the knock for the people who don't know.
So this red, this means we're seeing knock in cylinder 5, and this is just free revving, and this is on throttle. So it starts on the upswing. Here's the throttle position. So I'm still giving it gas, and it's still up. The revs are still coming up. This is them coming up, and then they're coming down. So if you put a line through it, revs are still coming up when it sees knock starting, and I'm still in the gas. So that line coming up, sorry if it's hard to see.
No,
hopefully this makes sense for you guys. RPM up, this is just air. This is the throttle percentage, so I'm still in the throttle, and it's seeing knock, and it happened a couple times. So if I drive the car and I start putting it through some more load, this starts becoming a little more pronounced. And if I actually do a pull with it, this is very often. This is constantly happening. So that's been part of like what we've been chasing and what we've been struggling with on the tune lately, because I don't really need this anymore. Essentially, it's a wear item, I guess, to make it make sense. It's bearings, and I mean, there's still a possibility that this could even be something in the rings from wear and tear from over time. This could be in the valves. You know, like, we really got to get the motor apart before we put anything concrete, and I don't want anybody to like hold me to anything, because, you know, there's a lot of variables. Once you open a motor, you open a motor. So, and something different is that was cylinder 5 this time. Last time it was cylinder 1, so it's probably in the bearings. But that's something that we could be negligent about. We could overlook, because I can still do a full pull with this thing. I could make power with it, and I could let Strad go drive this car. But what that's telling us is, since that's something that's getting worse, and since we've been putting more load on it, we've been tuning it more, we've been, you know, finding the level of boost, you know, like raising it slightly and kind of tuning it and kind of bringing everything up, making everything happy. Basically, that means that adding boost to this motor, how it came to us from the beginning, there was a slight issue that wasn't known. Like, typically, just to put out there too, any shop, you know, like the shops that maintain Strad's cars, they're great guys, they're great people, and they know what they're doing. But typically, when a car comes in for a service, you don't log it. You don't. That's not something that anybody naturally does. Where you want to look for rod knock. No one does that. If you don't hear anything or see anything, no one just instinctually does an oil change and sends oil out to get tested if they don't see or hear anything. You know, that's kind of how it is. So if there was an issue, like a noticeable issue, that's when people start to look in that direction. But yeah, we're seeing this now because we're tuning the car, and we are logging, we are looking for knock. So things are a little bit more pronounced. And over these last few weeks, since we've been more or less street tuning the car, you know, like you ride it off knock, like I was saying in the previous video. I don't want to sound redundant or whatever, but you find limits of knock, because knock's a good thing. Knock in the tuning world, knock tells you where to stop. So don't think of knock as like, oh my God, there's knock, like it's a bad thing. You guys should have noticed that from the get-go, because that's not the case. You find the limit of knock, and you stay within a certain strategy, and then, you know, you find a safe limit where the car doesn't see knock, and that's how the car gets driven from that point forward. But with us, we've been doing that, but the problem is, it's continually knocking more and more and more, no matter what we do, of everything else that I said in the last video. So that's why we want to make our best educated decision that we can, for Strad's sake, for all of your guys' sake, for our sake, and just get it out of the way while we know we can, before he loses the motor. Because if this thing does put a hole in the side of the block, like, there's no motor to build. Plus, you guys are gonna hate us, and plus, everyone's gonna like think that, you know, whoever's gonna think whatever. But yeah, we just want to do our best, because this is what we do here. This is why sometimes some things take a little longer for us, because we don't let anything leave here that isn't worked out 110%. Which, not to make this video too long, but you know, in the videos to come, what we'll do is, what we're excited about emphasizing with this build is everything that we do here, our 5.2 liter cars, the Huracan Gen 2 R8s, everything else that we do, you'll get to see with Strad's car. You know, like our attention to detail, our the things that we focus on, the things that we care about. You know, the preventative stuff that we do, just still kind of the way we do things here, I guess. And then we'll showcase it with Strad's cars, so you get to see a little bit more in-depth version of that, because we'll be getting into the trans, we'll be getting into the motor, we'll be getting into making the car able to handle the power. Because, you know, that's another thing too that we don't believe in here, is like, which I understand why people are okay with that and why people don't want to do it. But if we sell you a package, we sell you a package with components that are attached to that support that package. Like I said in the previous video, I never want anyone calling me saying, hey, my car blew up, my trans blew up, my clutch blew up. I don't like doing that. I don't like those calls at night. You know, I like to be able to sleep sometimes. So Luke knows very well, I definitely don't sleep a lot already. But But yeah, you know, so like we'll put together a package for Strad, and then you know this will just kind of like we'll emphasize more on like this is how we do a lot of the things that we do here, and this is what how we sell it. So, but yeah, this is where his car's at. It runs. It sounds good. Sounds fine. I'm sure a lot of people just assume everything's fine, but we wanted to show you this is like, because there is a problem. There's an underlying problem that has been here, and since we've been adding boost, you know, it doesn't matter that the time frame of how long it takes boost to emphasize on something that's already wearing. That's a variable that could be a couple weeks, couple months. That could be the same day. You know, like that could be the first day on a dyno. So it all depends on how aggressive you are as a tuner. We baby step everything here. We don't just say, hey, we know this car should handle 7 psi. Here's 7 psi. You know, like let's see what happens. You know, kind of deal. It's all right. Well, we're gonna get to 7 psi. We'll start at absolute least as possible we can, work ourselves up, and then, you know, and then try to get there. But this allows us to learn the cars and learn issues and prevent ourselves from breaking and blowing stuff up and damaging stuff. So, what's going on, guys? We just got back Strad's oil test results. Definitely confirming that his rings and his bearings, mostly emphasizing on the bearings, are worn pretty badly. Basically, the results that came back is those averages show typical wear for this type of V10 engine after about 1,800 miles of oil use. If this oil were in place for a longer run, then that might explain some of the extra metal, but maybe not all of it. Some of it might be due to hard use. For example, iron is from steel parts, and lead typically shows bearing wear. The viscosity is a little low, and there's a trace of fuel. That being said, I mean, basically the motor still runs like we told you guys, and this is not anything that you hear or anything like that. So we had to actually find this, and we had to do our job basically, you know, and do it well so that we could prevent this motor from spinning a bearing. So we did that, and we caught it thankfully before Strad put miles on it, and this thing blew up in his hands. So that's why we're building the motor. So we just wanted to share the results with you guys and tell you guys a little bit more about what's going on with it. So good stuff. See ya.